Good afternoon. Today is day 5 at the Delphi murders trial, and it is a tough one for the jury. Good afternoon. I'm Anne Marie. I'm in for Dustin Grove. Thanks for watching 13 News at 4.
And I'm Felicia Lawrence. Graphic autopsy photos of Libby German and Abby Williams were just part of today's proceedings.
We want you to know that now what some of senior investigative reporter Bob Siegel is about to tell us is graphic. It is very difficult to hear.
Today, the jury saw more graphic photographs, pictures taken during the autopsies of Abby and Libby just the day after they were murdered. And we also got to hear from the coroner who took those pictures. The photo showed what Dr. Roland Kaur called a large gaping wound on Abby's neck, more than 2.5 inches wide, and 3 wounds on Libby's neck, all large and deep like the one we saw on Abby. Dr. Kaur told the jury the wounds severed both girls' jugular veins. Libby also had 2 carotid arteries severed. The forensic pathologist said that could cause the girls to lose lots of blood, cause a drop in blood pressure and heart rate, eventually leading to loss of consciousness and death in what he estimated to be within 5 to 10 minutes. He did tell jurors there were no signs of sexual assault that he could see and no signs of defense injuries consistent with a struggle. These were tough pictures to look at today. One of the jurors barely looked up at the photos at all. He had his head buried in his hands, looked like he was actually going to be ill. Now, we also heard from another witness this morning, a 4th woman who says that she saw the person identified as Bridge Guy walking along the road, and she said that this person was both muddy and bloody. But the defense team pushed back on that, and it led to a very heated, drawn-out, confrontational exchange between the witness and the defense team, and it seemed like the jury did not like that. I'm going to tell you more about that exchange and what they were really disagreeing about coming up on 13 News at 5. In Delphi, Bob Siegel, 13 News.
And in the next half hour, 13 News legal expert Katie Jackson Lindsay will join us live in studio.
And she's going to help us break down the latest developments of today's proceedings. We are also breaking down testimony every weeknight at 10 o'clock and then again at 9 a.m. We re-air it after sunrise on WTHR+. You can find our Delphi debrief on our WTHR streaming app. You can find that through Apple TV, Amazon Fire Stick, and also on Roku.
Ending traffic fatalities in Marion County by 2035.
That certainly is the Vision Zero plan that's making its way through the City County Council.
And as 13 News reporter Logan Gay explains, tonight the public has its chance to weigh in.
The Vision Zero Task Force is having their first public meeting here at the City County building. They're going to give an overview of the task force and next steps and give a presentation on the overall concept of what the board wants to achieve. The Indianapolis City County Council passed a Vision Zero proposal on August 12th. The proposal strategy is aimed at improving safety for pedestrians and cyclists around the city to eliminate traffic-related fatalities and serious injuries. Just in August, 103 pedestrians were hit by a driver in Indianapolis. 7 of those people died. It was the worst month the city has seen since the Indy pedestrian safety crisis started tracking these incidences more than 2 years ago. Tonight at 6, out more about the comments that were made here tonight and any decisions that were made at the meeting at the City Council building. Logan Gay, 13 News.
All right, Ms. Logan, thank you so much. Now we're turning to traffic. This is a look at I-70 and Harding Road. As you can see, things are moving in both directions, but a little heavy when we're talking about eastbound lanes. And we have another camera. Here's a look at I-65, West Street MLK. Of course, one side shut down. That's this closure we've been telling you about. We are continuing to monitor all the detours and everything going on in the area. This closure is supposed to be happening until about the end of October. We'll keep an eye on traffic for you.
Meantime, perhaps you've seen them all around town. There are thousands of students that are here for the annual Future Farmers of America conference.
And for some of those students whose home states were impacted by Hurricane Helene, it was a long road to get here. Our Marina Silva spoke with some of those students today about what this really means to them.
The National FFA Conference is a big deal for students who are a part of FFA, and it's in Indy this week. But for 12 Tennessee students, it was up in the air if they would even be able to come after Hurricane Helene wiped out their town.
Future Farmers of America is an organization where students learn and grow through the world of agriculture. Every year they have a conference where students from all over the country can meet, network, and of course, explore Indianapolis. 12 students from Irwin FFA chapter in Tennessee didn't know if they would be able to come until the National FFA organization stepped up to help. Their school has been shut down for nearly a month after flooding from Hurricane Helene has swept through their town. Since then, the students have been pitching in to clean up their home.
We got devastated. We have a river called the Nolechucky River that runs through our town. And the previous record was set in the early 1900s. It is believed that it was set in the early 1900s. And it was about 20 some odd feet. We broke that record with this recent flood, and it got above 30.
Those 12 students say they're excited to bond with each other and other members of FFA from all over the country here in Indy this week. Reporting in Indianapolis, Marina Silva, 13 News.
They certainly have wonderful weather to visit Indianapolis.
Yes, that always lines up nicely for our conferences, at least we want it to.
Yeah. It's like this all the time.
Sure. And I tell you, those jackets will come in handy tomorrow morning because we're going to be having some dips and some ups and some dips, and tomorrow morning is going to be one of the dips.
Weather
here.
was nice.
Yes. Hey, hang tight. Yeah, we're going to be in the 30s to start out tomorrow, but the front that we've talked about, remember we've said there's going to be two fronts between now and the weekend. First one came through today, but notice Greensburg 77, Connorsville 74. We hit 75 in Indy, and now we're on the backside of the boundary here. A little bit of cloud cover. It's going to look worse than what's going to happen. A sprinkle maybe, but not expecting that. Compared to 24 hours ago, temperatures 10 to 15 degrees cooler. And we're setting the stage for a much colder night. We'll run down that, talk about our rain chances ahead in the 7-day forecast.
All right, Sean, let's talk about it. As the race for the White House continues, both candidates are continuing to visit key battleground states, and VP Harris sits down with NBC in a new interview.
Here's NBC's Hallie Jackson.
With under 2 weeks to go, former President Obama hitting the campaign trail.
I voted yesterday. I did.
President Barack Obama.
Later introduced by Eminem in Michigan and taking a turn at the mic himself.
I'm nervous, but on the surface I look calm and ready to drop bombs.
Rallying supporters for Vice President Kamala Harris.
Let me tell you, your vote is gonna matter.
In New Hampshire, the current president campaigning for his vice president, warning of the dangers of a second Trump term and saying this.
We got to lock him up. Politically lock him up. Lock him out. That's what we have to do.
The Trump campaign calling on Vice President Harris to condemn the comment, despite Mr. Trump repeatedly using similar language against then-opponent Hillary Clinton in 2016.
Lock her up is right.
It comes as Vice President Harris sits down in a new one-on-one with NBC News, continuing to back President Biden as she did after his debate performance, widely panned as disastrous in June.
Joe Biden is an extremely accomplished, experienced, and capable in every way that anyone would want if they're president.
You never saw anything like what happened at the debate night behind closed doors with him?
It was a bad debate. People have bad debates.
Should he?
He is absolutely.
But that's the reason why you're here, and he's not running for the top of the ticket.
Well, you'd have to ask him if that's the only reason why.
In 2020, a race he lost, Mr. Trump declared victory before all the votes were counted.
Frankly, we did win this election.
What is your plan if he does that again in 2 weeks?
Well, let me say this. We've got 2 weeks to go. And I'm very much grounded in the present in terms of the task at hand. And we will deal with election night and the days after as they come. And we have the resources and the expertise and the focus on that as well.
So you have teams ready to go? Is that what you're saying? Are you thinking about that as a possibility?
Of course.
We asked about the issue of abortion access if Republicans were to win control of Congress.
Is a question of pragmatism then what concessions would be on the table? Religious exemptions, for example, is that something that you would consider?
I don't think we should be making concessions when we're talking about a fundamental freedom to make decisions about your own body.
Tough conversation there. With less than 2 weeks now until Election Day, many Americans have already decided who they want for president. More than 20 million early voting ballots have already been cast, and that's according to data from 47 states and the District of Columbia. Polls continue to show right now there is no clear leader in the race for the White House.